Hi everyone, this is Tula. Today I'll be drawing this little wild boar in pastel pencils. Remember the oak leaves I uploaded a few days ago? Then these are meant for the same project. Not together, but on the same project. I'll tell you about it later on. I have a part where the sound is off, so I can come in voiceover. Trying to learn what a wild boar looks like, I looked at some pictures and this is what I came up with initially. Then I went on to these and I decided I want a bit more movement. Maybe I can make the it's not a piglet, it's a boar. Maybe make it a bit more animated in its movements. And last night I sketched these three guys. The person who runs this community club suggested I dress him up like an old gentleman because we're going for the old pub sign sort of look. So I tried it, and of course this is reminiscent of Beatrix Potter, and just with a few colors I had on my palette I tried her very small numerous strokes to see what that feels like. I like this one and I like how his eye came out. It's hard to see, but wild boar have a really tiny eye, and you can see the lid and you can see the bottom lid, I guess, as well. And they have a bit of a round patch where there's not as much hair bristles around. And the eye is quite light, it's like a light brown eye, I think. So I tried this one, making him with one leg in the air and like in a dancing sort of movement. And I want to make another attempt today, and I thought I will try working with pastel pencils, because I'm really enjoying the freedom that the pastel pencils give me in terms of going back and forth and covering up areas so I can put lights on darks and darks on lights. So this paper is a scrap of watercolor paper, not very good, that I put some Colourfix pastel primer on. You can still see bits that were here before. I'll try to work here and I don't think these will bother me much. So I have already learned not to draw with pencil for pastels because it's very hard on the light areas to cover the pencil lines. So I'll start with fairly light shade of. So this is not going to be a realistic animal, it's just a depiction. I want to make him quite large. So this will be the sweet little snout. And they have this bump along the nose, like the bone that we have on the nose. and the forehead. There are all sorts of wild boar, and I try to look at pictures of ones that look like the ones we have running around here. Okay, so this is the mouth, and there's a sort of darkness here, and sometimes you can see the bottom tooth. Oh my god, I forgot the word. Can't remember now. Fang. Oh, they have these bottom fangs that I think I imagine, I don't know, that when they close their mouth, you can see it. You can see a little bump in the skin. So this, I'll try to have that as well. Is the snout long enough? Again, not a realistic depiction. I don't mind if proportions are a bit off, but I do want it to be recognizable as a wild boar. And then we have this hefty back of the neck going on to a sort of, they have, some of them, ours I think, have a mane on the back, and then we have a bit of a curve here, and the back sides where the tail is, it's a little sloping down a bit. Is he too short? I think he's too short. Okay, now they have this very, I don't want to say sausage because this is a wild boar, but a very rounded body, not very curvaceous, let's say, very hefty and strong, have a big mass. And what I like about this one is that I managed to get him a very funny belly. I like this little paunch that he has, so I'll try to get that as well. Okay, now this is the paunch, belly, and let's stretch one leg. I know what dog legs look like, so I'm going with that sort of thing. Oh, I'm running out of space here. Oh, not good. Not very good. And this would be the back leg. Let's give him this funny brush tail. And for the hands, I guess if this is the neck area, then this is where the arms start, the forelegs. And again, I want them, with some movement. So this will be one, and the other one. Maybe something like this. The ears are quite forward. And the tiny little eye quite close to them. I have to Move it. Oh, I gave him a really long snout. I can move it back. Not this one. Be better. Let's give him another ear pointing forward. And where's the eye location? I think around here. Let's try it. If not, then I'll create another one. Okay, you can't see much. Sorry about that. So the colors will probably be mostly grays and browns. Let's go back to this one. So the small, with the snout you can really see the thickness of it, like this skin. And I think he's going to be very hairy. They have this little smile, like. It's quite scary to meet them at night when I'm walking my dog. I know they don't mean me any harm, but if they get afraid they can start running, and that's a little frightening. But mostly they do this to let us know, this sound to let us know that they're there. And if it's a mother with piglets, then she will a lot of times stand in the middle of the road, like she's saying, don't come around here, we are here now. I'll try to shorten the body and the leg. So I can fit the hooves here. Are they hooves? I'm doing this third sort of finger because that's what I saw in pictures, that there's a bit that's a bit in the air. And, okay. This is funny. I have to go to the mirror to see what it looks like, if my proportions are alright or not. This helps me get an objective view. I'll be right back. So my little boar has quite a big head and a more condensed body, but that's alright. This is not a realistic depiction. Now let's see, what shall I do now? I think I'll add bits of pink. There's not a lot of pink on them, but I want some to make him just I don't know, maybe a little cuter. Okay, I guess I can blend the two of these to get a lighter color, and I'll probably go over it a lot more anyway. Because I'm still not sure. Just bits of pink, although they're not really this pinkish. They're wild. Okay. Now in another direction so I get fuller coverage. Okay, this is more like the color I wanted. And this would be the pinkest area, right? Not the top. And around the okay. Okay. Next, I probably should be watching photos right now and not working blindly. I think I'll give some color to everything. Okay, where are my blenders? My toilet paper blenders. I keep using the same ones, and I'm looking for one that has a similar sort of color. I think I can work with this one. And if you're surprised by this little finger tool, this is my invention, and I have a video about making this from the cardboard of toilet paper rolls, and I'll link it. Oh, not good. I need to ignore this area. It's too much. Why not? Let's add shadows. So I want him to have a bit of highlight on his wet snout. Then traditional lighting maybe from this side. So that means that our back is in shadow. This area for sure. Okay, I think it's time to switch to a lighter shade. So I'm really finding my way. I don't draw a lot of animals or paint, really. I did do a snout and fangs once, but that's all. That's my experience with wild. I'll just smooth everything out again and then go on. I know if if I'm smoothing it all now, that means I have to create more layers for the fur texture. Okay, time for a real finger to put the little dust particles back into the grain of the paper. Come on. I think it's time to focus on the eye. And I do have my images open on my screen. I can't show you because these are not free images. So I'm looking at the images on the web, not, I'm looking at several and I'm not copying any of them. Should be okay with that. The eye is a light sort of brown. Oh my God, and I'm talking and explaining, and I wasn't even recording. So I tried to fix the snout. Now I think I want to add a bit more. Pinkish tone around the eye. I'm making it smaller and smaller. Okay, that's good enough for now. This is difficult for me. I know I should start going into the hairs. Trying to follow hair direction here. This part was recorded without audio, so here I am in voiceover, the me of the future, watching this with you, adding details to the hooves, and I was delightfully surprised to discover that wild boar have these two front hooves that I knew about, but they also have this little back sort of finger. And if you look at photos, it looks like they're walking on heels all the time. That's really funny, this big heavy animal walking on such tiny legs on little heels. That was sweet. I created a light area and then a very dark one, and now I'm filling in the medium value to unify them and adding the highlights later on, which was most helpful to convey that this is it's not exactly shiny, but it's matte yet has a sheen to it, a sheen to it. So adding the whites, I think, made a good difference, a big difference. I could have made the darks darker and the lights lighter, but it's alright. I'm very pleased with how this little guy came out. Now I decided to use colored pencils for the eye because I had very difficult time going into these tiny details with the pastel pencils. I'm using different sorts of colored pencils here, and you can see them in the description. And just if you do think of using colored pencils or watercolor pencils on pastels, just take into account that the colored pencils have a much harder lead inside. Yeah, I discovered a chip in the casing of my pencil. So the lead of the pencils is much harder than the obviously soft pastels, but also probably most of your pastel pencils. And so the colored pencils don't go on top of the pastels, but rather they push the pastel dust aside and go instead of it. So take that into account if you use them. Or try for yourself, maybe I'm wrong. About midway through this project, I was very disheartened and I thought of just not finishing it and moving on to some other medium, and I'm very glad I persisted because I'm super pleased with how he came out. And I said I'll tell you about this project with the oak leaves and acorns pattern that I created. It's for a sort of community club that we have in our village, and they wanted to decorate the walls. So the pattern is what I created to cover one of the walls. I'm going to print it on some kind of fabric, I'm not sure yet. And then I thought it would be fun to create like an old pub sign. And I imagined an animal standing like you see lions or dragons or different kind of animals. So the pub is called the Acorn. So the only animal, or one of the only animals we have here in the village that eats acorns, is the wild boar. So that's why I created him. We have quite a few visitors here. I might create a part 3 and show you how I removed the background and added some lettering and what the final result will be. I don't know, depends what I'll make of it. And if you're interested in watching my digital process, just let me know. I'll be happy to share it. I hope you enjoyed this little boar. Eventually I did very much. And thank you for being with me today. Bye-bye.